Brandon Hamer. I'm out here at Owner's Acres in Aurora. Looking forward to doing these weekly updates for you as we go throughout the growing season. A couple things. We talked about the planter here a week or two ago. We did get a round of soybeans in our Central City plot just to simulate some early soybeans. We'll come back in and finish some of those later on and do some different planting dates. Obviously with this cooler weather, I know most guys are sitting on the sideline here waiting for a better window to get corn in, even though field conditions are pretty good. We got to wait till the weather comes to us. We're seeing a downtrend in our soil temperatures, so patience is the answer right now. Also looking at some soybeans going in. We'll probably put a few more soybeans in this week just to get some things out of the way. Like I know most guys are wanting to get some things checked off the list. A couple other things we wanted to talk about here that it's not too late to look at. One of those is some nitrate soil testing. A lot of times we pull nitrate soil tests in the fall, early spring, but then we had that big rain event here a couple weeks ago where we saw 4 to 7 inches across the majority of our area. And what that means is we actually went back last week and retested a lot of our plots just to see where our nitrogen's at. We did a multi-depth 0 to 8, 8 to 24, just so we have a good handle on where our nitrogen levels are in the soil, what we can bank on for credits, and freshen that up. I know it's not something the guy wants to have to go repeat, but in this case, given where nitrogen prices are, given where commodity prices are, pretty good to know where you're at as opposed to guessing or going off of information that may have changed. The other thing is our cover crops. We've talked a lot about the benefit of cover crops. We're out here in our cereal rye. You see we're getting some good growth with the warm up that we had. We got this in kind of late, but we're seeing good growth now. The one negative effect that cover crops can have is drying out the soil. So I know one of the things we're looking at is we're seeing some pretty good subsoil moisture, but we're getting a pretty good crust on the top here. The ground is pretty firm, pretty hard. So I know in some cases, if you're really dry, especially as you move further west in Nebraska, we may be looking at needing to pre-water or make sure we're on top of it. The other thing is if you do terminate your rye, we've seen some of that moisture return as it starts to die off. But just something that if you're going to green plant or you have cover crops, it's not a bad idea to check your soil conditions before you go there with the planter. The last thing we want to do is pull into a field, find out conditions aren't quite set up or right for our planter, and do a poor job planting. Some of you remember we learned that last year with our tall green plant. We had a closing system that wouldn't close or work in those conditions. So just a couple things to think about. We'll keep you updated. Hopefully we'll see some warmer weather next week and we start talking about planting corn.